Any other board member comments or questions?
I'll just make a quick comment, since it is late, but while I do agree that an outside graduation, can be a really great thing, my own high school one was outside, but I can also say that I've seen ones where it was stopped in the middle because of rain, and that was the end of graduation. And some students don't even have their diploma handed to them. There's no do-over. That being said, I too at one point thought, why are we driving all the way to Lehigh? Why isn't it here? When I went to my older son's graduation and saw it, I understood why. And it was done in such a nice way. It was a great event, and still is. I'm privileged to be able to go now as a board member and enjoy that there. And I look forward to next year's. So I guess that being said, I would support it staying there. I think most places, many places are same thing. It's wonderful to have it outside, but the inside makes it much easier. You're guaranteed of your event happening. There are, places that you could say it's tradition, whatever. I'll be at Penn State Saturday for graduation, and it's inside because it's happening. So I will agree with the recommendation.
All I want to say is no more bets. We can't lose to Quakertown again.
Dr. Addington, she's going to help me out next time on that
That's
one.
right.
Is she the muscle?
She's the muscle.
I'll take care of Dr. Harner, don't worry.
Did you have any comments or questions?
Well, looking at some of the costs that I was going through, and I'm just thinking to myself that some of the costs I don't necessarily understand in terms of renting 1,200 chairs, $3,000 for setup, things of that nature. I think the hours or the time, the dollars seem a little bit inflated to me, but I'm just looking at it that from my perspective. Do we offer food at Stabler Arena? Why would that even be put in there?
They do.
They do?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's.
Okay.
But I already made that comment.
I understand you made the comment. I'm just making for myself, that's all. And I'm also one that I think we have a beautiful facility up here at Hellman Field, and to see it not be utilized. Outdoor graduations, I graduated outdoor. All 6 of my other siblings did the same, and I remember attending them. There are other schools around that definitely graduate outdoors. So, yeah, you can't control the weather. Okay, if that's going to be the excuse, well, then, that's not the best excuse for me, saying that it can rain. I don't agree with that. So I personally, I think we should start a tradition here at graduation at Hellman Field.
Well, there's no other board members. I get my only other comment, I guess, would be time, and I think what you were alluding to, that if it is here and it's something that you can't really factor in, that there would be a lot more time that the staff at the high school would have to put into planning it, right, and setting it up. And I think, because I do know, from planning events, when you go have something somewhere and you can just, and it's taken care of, it's, you spend a lot less time planning and then taking down and dealing with issues.
Absolutely correct. I can address the 1,200 chairs because we would need to have the 600 chairs up on Hellman Field. We'd also have to have another setup in the event that it rains in the middle and have the 600 chairs down in the white gym. So those, we'd have 2 venues set up in the event that it rains in the middle of the program so that we can quickly move everybody inside. So in terms of the $3,600 setup for custodial fee, that came from Jeff Loeffler, so I'm not quite sure how he worked out that figure, but that's just what was provided to me from Jeff.
Mrs. Yardley, if I could just add perspective, having been in a district where we had an outdoor graduation and now here where we have an indoor one, all I say is hallelujah when it's here, because I know what day it is, what time it is, and the stress that it takes away from, I think, the families as well as the staff, because you know when it's going to be. I was at my nephew's graduation at Westchester, which was outdoors 2 years ago, and it was a beautiful sunny day, although it was warm. Well, in the middle of the ceremony, it did exactly what you said, Mrs. Schmidt. An absolute torrential thunderstorm came through. It was so windy, it blew over an amplifier that hit someone in the head. They had to cancel the graduation right in the middle. Not everyone's name was called. It was a sad situation. So I look at it from my perspective and wanting to support this team as if we have something that's working and working well and looking very professional, why change it? Although I get the helmet idea, it's a beautiful stadium, it's a beautiful field, but having lived on the other side and having lived on this side, I just think the Stabler Arena makes a lot more sense for many reasons.
Yeah, I think from a parent's point of view too, I think a lot of parents, I mean, well, it's, the idea of being outside at Hellman Field is nice, but I know when my daughter graduated last year and I talked to a friend whose daughter was graduating from Wissahickon, and she was very jealous that ours was indoors because she had to go sit in the heat and humidity, and, you know, so there's that issue. I guess maybe a compromise or another idea, and I don't know, could there be another senior event at Hellman Field to start a new tradition, you know, something.
Something, because I'm heartbroken that I guess I'm romantic or whatever. I think it would be nice to have it here at the high school, but that's a nice idea. I guess I could live with it.
Yeah, because I think that's the idea, right, that you're at your school, but maybe if there could be some sort, I don't know what it would be. I mean, I know some schools do a baccalaureate, I don't know if that would be the right thing, or whatever the, you know, school would come up with, but maybe something that the seniors and maybe some family, I don't know, just the thought to have a, and that way too, it's not, if that gets rained out or changed, it's not as,
Yeah.
right, it's not as critical or upsetting as if the graduation is changed because you have your grandmother flying in and now they can't see, they have to fly back, or it gets, if it got canceled in the middle, so.
We will talk about that. We'll look
Okay.
at what we have scheduled for seniors and next year see if we can do something like that.
What is, I mean, it seems like the majority that are here are fine with your recommendation. What is when do you have to commit to next year for?
We start working in October, November with Lehigh. So I would certainly say by the start of next school year.
Okay. I don't, so it seems as if, you know, the majority here want it, or agree with the administration recommendation to stay, but I don't know, maybe if we put it on, like if there's any follow-up in September, then that would be enough time, right?
Yes.
And that way then you could also have any additional details from the June, you know, thinking about it in June, and if there were another event that could be put in there. Does that, do we need to bring it, talk about it anymore?
I think it depends on how many are supporting the move at that point. Can I jump in? I know everybody kind of said something and I wasn't going to, but I just feel like I have to, because this, at one point in my life, was a passion of mine. I think like it's now, you know, the high school staffs. My school board, my first year, many years back as a high school principal, charged me with doing the opposite, and that was moving it outdoors and getting it indoors. And it was really, for Dr. Yarnell, what you cited, it really wasn't the weather, it was really the ceremony itself and what type of event did you want there? And did you want it to be a party atmosphere, the beach balls flying around, or do you want it to be a more solemn ceremony where kids can actually hear their names called when they're coming to the stage and things like that? So I definitely support it staying indoors, and not as much for the weather as it is for those other reasons, and for making it the ceremony and respectful night that it needs to be. I just think it encourages, you know, better decor on everyone's part, including those in the audience. But a comment, just if we're going to schedule something in Hellman Field, then it should be something, I think, more festive, where you don't have to worry if the students are having a great time, and when they're having a great time, and that it has to be really quiet through pieces. I think it should be more of a festive event if it's going to be out there, that they can celebrate the facility and whatever event is taking place.
Does that, yeah, so I guess you'll talk about it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you for the information.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing all that information.
Sure.
That-
I think I'm up next, too. I think I'm
Oh,
still
okay,
going.
yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I thought we just had the.
I feel so bad.
Okay.
I can make this really quick. We had our junior prom. We are so lucky that when we have our junior and our senior proms, everything goes off without a hitch. We have really good kids. But at our junior prom, just a few weeks ago, we were sitting there and it was about 10:35 and the students were slowly trickling out. And I started talking to the police officer that was there. And I don't know how the discussion came up, but he said, boy, I'm really surprised that you guys end your prom at 10:30 and not 10 o'clock because of the junior licenses. And it didn't dawn on me until I started to connect the dots because my own son is going through the process. And I'm thinking about the back roads, and I drive that way every single day. I drive from Pennridge up to Bethlehem, right over the mountain. So I certainly know all ways, whether it's 309 or the back roads. And they're not always the safest, but we did say this year that our senior prom, which is at the Palace in Allentown, the administration started to talk about, well, maybe we should end it at 10 or even 10:15, so that we do give the students enough time to get home by 11 if that's where if they were going directly home. I do realize that there's a stipulation in driver's license permits, junior licenses, I should say, that if they are coming to or from a school event or even from work, that they have that grace period. But as I reached out to Palisades and also Quakertown, because I do know that they use Lehigh University's Mountaintop, but then also Quakertown uses a venue in Allentown in the Lehigh Valley. They all end their proms at 10 o'clock for the very reason that the students are home by 11. I also reached out to Hatboro Horsham, and while theirs ends at 10:30 for their junior prom, their venue is within a 15-20 minute. And when I asked them why they ended it at 10:30, they said so they could get home by 11 o'clock. So for this year, we are keeping it till 10:30 simply because we had communicated it out to the students as such. But next year, we are going to end it at 10 at Lehigh and then also at the Palace in Allentown for both the junior and the senior proms. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of information and background on why that question came to your attention not too long ago.
But the seniors are mostly, I mean, it's the end of the year, it's June. I mean, don't you think like 90% of them are 18 and they don't have they have a regular license?
And most of them take a limo too. You're absolutely correct. We just felt, and again, we felt that 10 o'clock because they start at 6. Actually, the doors open at 5:30. So most of the kids are out by then anyway. A lot, honestly, junior prom and the senior prom, once they announce king, queen, all that, the kids trickle out. So there are just some stragglers. It clearly does not matter to the administration whether it's 10 or 10:30 or even 11 because the last kids that are either picked up or leave, it's well after 11 anyway. But for purposes of what we felt for safety for the students, we felt that giving them enough time, if their parents wanted them home by 11 and they have their junior license, that we should end it at 10.
The junior prom's on a Saturday. And they are juniors, and I would say almost all of them have junior licenses, and that makes sense. But the senior prom's on a Friday, and so will that make it less expensive? Will it start? I mean, you can't really start it earlier because it's really hard for them to get there on time by the time they do the pictures. So I guess that's my concern, that it's on a Friday, it's hard for them to get there at the start time and then end it early. So then would it cost less?
The senior prom, they're there, they're lined up. The doors opened at 5:30, and those kids are coming at 6. Very few, because the food also opens up at 6.
Yeah.
So many of them are there by 6, certainly by 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we don't let students leave before a certain time. But the discussion of the price or any of that hasn't even come up because it's next year. Palisades has their junior and senior prom together. They go from 6 to 10. Quakertown, their senior prom is 6 to 10. Their junior prom is 7 to 10. The Havro Horsham also started between 6 and 7, depending on which prom. Their senior prom, they have a post-prom party. So those students, they go directly to the post-prom party for those that do attend.
Anybody else?
I mean, for the seniors, I think, and you could say, well, they're seniors and they're older, that I wouldn't mind them going to 10:30. But it doesn't seem that important to me, but if you wanted to break it down to juniors being 10 o'clock and seniors being 10:30, but it doesn't seem like a big deal to make the change.
Okay,
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
thank you. All right, so the last item on the agenda is the aquatics program. And we have to apologize to Mr. Grant. I know when we put this on the agenda a couple months ago, there wasn't anything else and it just got very full. So we apologize for the late hour and and thank you for waiting.
Yeah, of course. I told Jacob I wasn't sure what time we would get to him. He'd come about 7. That would be safe. We knew we wouldn't get to him before 7, but we never know how quick discussions are going, so I didn't want to say any later than that. So thank you for your patience.
No problem. It was definitely an experience.
Yeah.
So I'll just hop right to it. I'm Jacob Grant, the aquatics director. You guys have the documents in front of you. The first page, which is the 2015-2016 school year pool use, was sent to me directly by Jackie Schuler. I just put it all together just so you guys can see it chronologically. Just the different groups that we have in there that come in to rent out the pool. Pennridge Aquatic Club, Percy Pirates, Boy Scouts. I believe you guys saw all of these on the sheets that I brought last time that kind of described who rented out the pool. Altogether throughout the year, we just have, the only reason I stopped at February because that's what we have collected up until, I believe, March has been sent out, and April's in the process of being sent out. We just haven't collected all on that end. But when it comes to pool usage by outside organizations, all that money is handled directly by the business department and Jackie Schuler. On the back, or I guess on the next page, you'll see other revenues. We offer swim lessons and swim clinics. The swim clinic happens once a year. It just bridges the gap for students who are swimming on a winter swim team, who then have about 2 to 3 months off before summer swimming starts. So that's why you only see one session on there for that. But the swim lessons, we started in October. They were originally scheduled to start at the end of August, beginning of September, but with me not getting on board with the job until the end of August, everything felt rushed, so we did delay the start. So in the next year, we'll hope to see, August and September on that form of revenue, an extra 2 months of swim lessons out there. You have $15,000 for that, and then you also have rec swim, which started in March. Hasn't been that much income, but it is important to provide that for the community because there's a lot of people requesting that we do have open swim for the community. So you'll see total between swim lessons, rec swim, and pool usage. The pool's brought in a little over $32,000. Then I just have the breakdown of wages. Each month what I paid each student lifeguard. The reason we don't see anything from September and October is, again, I was not here until August, and by the time I got the board approved and able to start working, we didn't start until November. The groups that were in before that, just to clarify, brought their own lifeguards, provided their own sort of lifeguards, so the pool was still safe in that matter. We had a breakdown of November through March, just depending on what we have going on each night and who's in the pool, depending on how many lifeguards I need. I have a total expenses of a little over $6,200. So overall, you have an operating income of $25,839.11. With that being up through February, March area.
Right, so you actually have the expenses through March, but the income only through February.
Correct.
Right, so it would be
Yeah.
a little bit more, yeah.
Yeah.
And these are the only expenses of the lifeguards? They're the only expenses of operating these, the outside programs?
Yeah,
Programs for the community?
lifeguards, I don't have anything breakdown on, how much electric the pool uses or anything like that.
Right, yeah.
I haven't had to spend any money, all the equipment, that we have so far throughout the school year, whether that be the phys ed department or what the school has acquired. We do use that for equipment. As far as next year, I know, I think we put in an offer or a request to get a new diving board. So, you'll see stuff like that, but that won't be approved until next year's budget, and that's out of the athletic department. There are a couple small things that I would be talking to David Babb about, but again, that's through athletics, just for swim team equipment, new set of flags for the pool. Just the ones we have now are kind of worn down and getting between water polo pulling them down and swim team putting them up, they just wear and tear. We've had them for a couple of years, so I think we need new stuff like that, but I don't have any sort of expenses besides paying the staff to guard the pool and teach the swim lessons.
At the other night, it was Monday night, right, we talked about the air filter for the pool.
Yeah.
Right, and talked about that, and one of the things Mr. Loeffler was saying was about, the students showering and then the resting the pool, so.
Correct.
I don't know if you had any, is there anywhere or any time that the pool
The
could
pool's
rest?
rested.
Yeah.
With the amount of programs that are run through the high school and then, wanting to make sure that it's still open for the community, I find it very hard to have a balance of, if I take away certain programs, people in the community are going to be upset, but at the same time, I see the side of the pool does need to rest. But I think hopefully that'll all be taken care of with a new filtration, air filter system, which is what I'm hoping for. I know the pool that I grew up swimming in my high school was used from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. And, it was just, I think the difference was the size of the facility and the air filtration. I never had any sort of problem like this in high school. So I think hopefully the filtration system will take care of that and eliminate the need to eliminate any sort of community programs for the sake of resting the pool.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? Anyone on board? I guess the only thing I would ask, since, if we could just get,
End of the year.
email, an update, right, at end of the
Yep.
year, I guess, after June 30th.
Absolutely.
Right, just a final report.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I will have, I think, I'm a 10.5-month employee, so I will be gone from the end of school, but I will get as much information as I can up until, what the school has built. Now, I know most of our programs stop Memorial Day because the outside pools are then opening up and most people will be switching towards that. The only thing that goes on until past Memorial Day that I have scheduled is 1 week of the Pirates water polo and 1 week of swim lessons. Other than that, there's not much going on in the pool. So I will get as much, from Jackie that she has built and get as much information as I can to wrap up the year.
Well, yeah, I guess whenever the information is available,
Right.
so we could have the whole.
Right, the whole year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That would be great, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, thank you.
no problem.
Thank you again for waiting.
Thanks, Jen.
Short and sweet.
All right, so that's everything on the agenda, so public comment. So we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.